and as I said to the government and to all of the people of Samoa, thank you so much for the very generous hospitality you've extended to me and my delegation. I've been here several times and it's great to be back here again in 2026 with a new Prime Minister and a new government working out how New Zealand and Samoa can take the relationship to the next level. And Prime Minister, I want to say thank you very much to you for that wonderful Ava ceremony this morning. It was incredibly meaningful and I really appreciated it. It was very, very special indeed, and it symbolised, as I said, I think the depth of relationship we have, which is one of family. It's been a really important delegation to bring to New Zealand. We have, I think, 76 in our delegation, comprising of media, but also business, community and political leadership across the Parliament of New Zealand. And that is because I wanted to signal that we want to be a trusted partner and friend with this new government, and we have a lot of work together to do. We've had a fantastic bilateral meeting this morning, which has been fantastic, and obviously also met with our ministers, and that was very illuminating as to identifying areas where we can continue to work together, whether it be in the areas of healthcare or education, certainly in the border with police and customs as well. So we're really looking forward to our day and a half here, or 2 days here. It's really about building out our friendship and our relationship, making sure we deepen up the partnerships and work out the areas of common ground where we can work together on, and then most importantly celebrating two fantastic countries and the great community commitments and partnerships that we have with each other. So over to you, Prime Minister.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, we are grateful for making time to come to Samoa. I believe our celebration and ceremony this morning explain how we felt this morning.
Thank you.
And it has been in our preparation since we met when I was in New Zealand for medical check. So nothing was new. We were hope the day, the right time, and the right place where to meet.
Perfect.
And I was supposed to come down to New Zealand for my courtesy visit, but you said to me, you'll come to Samoa.
Yes.
So now in reality, we are very grateful on behalf of our nation, our people, and our celebration this morning, persuading in your title, is a token of respect, honoring, and have our treaty of friendship as we discuss. Samoa and New Zealand are no longer friends.
Yeah.
We're going deeper from where we were. You were looking after us in colonial time.
Yeah.
And the system has been installed in us, New Zealanders. And we believe Samoan are New Zealanders. New Zealanders are Samoan as well. We exchange a lot culturally, religiously, politically, but deep in us today, we are more into personal connections now.
Yeah.
As we discuss through our bilateral meetings, priorities for Samoa, what is good for New Zealand, good for Samoa? Our education system, health system, trading system, tourism, our trade and commerce, scholarship, schooling and all that. So we are very look forward. There's a massive list for you to go, take it back home. And I ask for your time, our official, to come. It's about time for us to review our treaty of friendship. There's so much to look after. Mainly, look after our Pacific people. New Zealand and Australia, we look up at as big brothers and sisters. You see the changing nowadays in the world. Big countries bully. Start to change things dynamically. Tariff, pushing things. Petroleum and all that, taking over. Samoa focus is to make sure we look after ourselves, by ourselves, and controlling by ourselves. So that's why it's very, very important for Samoa, New Zealand and Australia and all our Pacific regions to come back together again, formulate our Pacific Island nation, and make sure we have the capacity to look after ourselves in our own side of the world, the Pacific region, Northern Pacific region, so that we can share whatever resources we have and share whatever we have to make sure that everybody's looked after and well looked after by each other.
Yeah, well
so
said.
we're very look forward for the questions from our media. As I always said to my media here, media is part of our democracy. And I honor them very respectfully. I always have time with them. Always have time with them. But thank you very much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's lunchtime. If you have any questions, take them with you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Prime Ministers. We will now open the floor for questions from the media. We will start from Luna Su'ava'ai from Samoa.
Thank you very much. Faftailawa Pisita. Congratulations, Honorable Prime Minister Turisi Samoa for receiving your chiefly title today. My question is more into free visa for Samoa and as the Pacific. I just want to follow up on what you said earlier during the ceremony when you said that we are no longer friends, but rather we are family. Why not give us free visa, Honourable?
Well, listen, I thought you were going to ask me to pronounce my new title, which I'm just starting to understand, but my best attempt is Tui Sanave Ma'ulu Motuotua. So it's a work in progress, but we will get there, I promise you. Look, firstly, thank you for your question. And look, as a new government in New Zealand over the last 2 years, we've done several things to try and make it easier to facilitate visas and travel to New Zealand. First and foremost, we've made a 2-year multi-entry visitor visa available. We've also said if you've got an Australian visitor visa that we will honour and recognise that in New Zealand as well. We've actually sped up the processing because that's a real challenge when people need to come at short notice to New Zealand. And so we've sped it up by about 3 times and we've lowered the cost by about 25%. And we have an escalation pathway and we also have obviously a processing centre we're putting into here in Apia as well to help. So that's the progress because we're trying to make it easier. The challenge that we have is, as any leader does, is to make sure that you've got legal migration and that you've actually got good risk management around your immigration system. Because otherwise what happens is you get an anti-immigrant feeling that builds up inside a country. And we've seen that in other countries all around the world. And so the challenge for us is just making sure we take a risk-based approach that we don't end up with, we've had 2 attempts, I think, at visa-free in New Zealand's history, and they had to get stopped very quickly because our hospitals got filled up, our schools got filled up, and people didn't go home. And so in the late 80s, I think it wasn't even in the early 2000s when we tried that. So we, rest assured, from my government, you've seen us try and liberalise the rules to make it much easier to move around the Pacific. We'll continue to look at what more we can do. I hear very strongly the ask and the request, and if you're in my shoes, it's just making sure that we can manage the risks, that we have legal migration and we protect our borders well, so that we keep our people on board with immigration in the country. But no, thank you for the question and hopefully it gives you some of the answer.
From New Zealand.
La'uli ale maliatua. Given the dramatic rise in fuel costs around the world because of the Iran conflict, what are your concerns about the impact on Samoa, and especially in flights, import, exports, tourism, and anything you can do about it? And also, Mr. Luxon, is there anything that New Zealand can do to help assist our Pacific partners?
Well, our priority now is to make sure we have enough supply at this stage. And we have just discussed with Honourable Prime Minister in terms of assistance, because what's happening now, we never know what's the protection of the supplying and the cost, because we can't control that. We're trying to formulate ourselves to make sure, first and foremost, we have enough supply for the next 1 year or 2 years, because we don't know what's going to happen next. But together, we have been collaborate whichever way we can divert supplying from where we are. We're having our own supply from Singapore and other countries, but divert to utilize suppliers from New Zealand to cover us in case something happened. But because we have our own system here of supplying our own petroleum system, which is be able us to control the price ourselves. But we never know what's going to happen next, because the war doesn't end. I don't know who's next. But we have already discussed it with Honourable Prime Minister to make sure we have close collaboration. We can solve that as soon as we can, in whichever rise.
Yeah, I think, Barbara, what I'd say is that, both of us want to see a quick resolution to this conflict. As you know, from a New Zealand perspective, we're well sorted in terms of supplies of fuel inside country and also on the water. We have a ministerial oversight group of about 6 or 7 ministers that are meeting daily just to make sure that we're in good shape, engaging with the industry, finding out where we are. Our issues, as the Prime Minister and I talked about this morning, is not necessarily just in the short term, and Samoa has a very good management system for its fuel and has been able to take ships directly into here and use their infrastructure and ports to be able to disperse it. But it's more, if this is a protracted conflict, then what are the consequences? For us in New Zealand, we're thinking about the top 10 things of inputs that might be challenging for us in several months' time. If you think about petrochemicals and the work that goes into plastics or packaging, if you think about the impact on fertilisers, those are the kinds of issues that we're starting to bend our mind, or we have bent our mind to. And what we've both talked about this morning is just making sure that any intelligence we have about where we get 51% of our fuel out of Korea, we get 31% out of Singapore, the balance out of Malaysia and Japan. If we want to make sure our officials and everybody's sharing information, if we can support each other, we will. Yeah.
From Samoa.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Welcome to our family.
It's awesome to be here.
Great. And Samoa and New Zealand is all about partnership. My question, I want to hear 3 responses from you, if you don't mind. I can hear and tell that you've answered very well, long, explanatory, thoroughly, so please bear with my question.
Yes.
How do you plan to use New Zealand's partnership with Samoa to address the climate change, to address the climate change crisis, given Samoa's vulnerability to rising sea level? Also, your vision for strengthening people-to-people connection between Samoa and New Zealand, particularly in education and cultural exchange. And last part of my question, given Samoa's growing tourism sector, how can New Zealand support sustainable tourism practices that benefit the local community? Thank you.
Ooh, that's a 3-parter in one. That's a very searching set of big topics there, actually. Look, with respect to climate change, New Zealand is one of the top 10 countries of the 195 with respect to its use of renewable energy. And we have a big drive within New Zealand to double the amount of renewables that are going on: sun, wind, geothermal. And in fact, we have a massive renewables boom happening in New Zealand, with lots of investors coming from overseas wanting to invest in renewable energy, but also investors from within New Zealand. So again, our focus is doing the part that we can control, and we also spend, with a lot of our development money in the Pacific, a big focus on building out renewables in the Pacific Island nations as well. So that's a big focus for us, to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to drive into a more renewable, sustainable energy mix. New Zealand had the lowest amount of emissions in the last quarter than it's had since 2010. And a lot of that is because of our renewable energy focus. We obviously need to augment it with some fossil fuels so that there's not enough rain or sun or wind, that we have still reliable electricity and good abundant electricity and affordable prices. And so that's so we're very comfortable, and we've put a lot of our investment and development money across the Pacific into climate change and into renewable energy projects in different countries, and we'll continue to do that. On the people-to-people side, the Prime Minister and I and the Cabinet Ministers talked this morning about yes, that there is a real opportunity to get our education and our healthcare systems even more aligned, and actually having our ministers from Samoa come and visit us in New Zealand, share what our approach to education has been. I've made that offer this morning. We really want to have joint working teams, because we've been doing a lot of work on education in the last 2 years, and we think it's working very well for us and setting us up with the foundations that we need for our people to do well in the future. We talked about healthcare. We talked about the fact that the hospital built in 1975 2025 has been quite enduring, and what more could we be doing around aligning nursing training and doctors and even building out health infrastructure together. And so we'll continue those conversations. And on tourism, obviously for New Zealand, tourism is our second biggest market, our second biggest sector after dairy. And so we've over many years tried to build out a sustainable tourism sector, and of course we're very comfortable to share all of those learnings because Samoa is in a pretty special place because you have an incredible set of tourism assets that would be in huge demand all around the world. But of course the question in any tourism conversation is how do you manage the inevitable growth, because lots of people want to come and get their Instagram moment here in Samoa seeing your incredible scenery, but equally how do you not change the culture that you have inside your country or let that overrun or get out of control. So for us it's been about dealing with the challenges of growth of tourism, which we've started to think about how we can manage that growth as well. So we're very happy to share our learnings on tourism as well.
Talo falava tui sinave maulum totua. Talo falava. There's been some discussions around the reported request for the title that you now hold. Now, could you please clarify as to why you stepped back from admitting this request, given that Prime Minister Laulile Maliatua publicly announced that it was a request?
Yeah, well, what I'd just say is I think the Prime Minister addressed, we've worked our way through that issue over, as you've seen in the last few hours, or last day. And what I'd say is important is our conversation has been about how we take our relationship forward. And so I appreciate there was some miscommunication and all of that, but we've got ourselves to the right place where we are wanting to build our relationship in a deeper way, and we want to see these two countries work together, and the conversations around how we grow our countries and our economies, how we actually make sure we protect our borders from drugs, the work that we can do in health and education is where we've put a lot of our focus in our conversations today. So I think, I want to say thank you to the Prime Minister for the work that he did in working through that issue, but we are beyond that, and that's done and finished in my mind.
You
guys are doing so well with the...
I'm sorry. My question is about the engagement visa. So
the what visa?
Engagement visa. So Australia has an engagement visa program for RC people, and do you think are you going to do the same as Australia? And while I still have the opportunity, so respectfully, can I ask about the MOU that you just signed with our Honourable Prime Minister? What are the contexts? And can you elaborate on how New Zealand will help with Samoa, especially with the case of eliminating drugs?
Yes.
Because I saw the MOU, it's about the police work and the customs piece.
Yeah, and the first part of the question was on RSEs. Mm-hmm. Yes. So the first thing I'd say on RSEs is that the Prime Minister and I, from when we met back in November, I've said to him from the very beginning, we want this scheme to work for you. This shouldn't be about taking, qualified Samoans who are teachers or nurses that are critical to do key jobs. Really, we will be guided by the Prime Minister and what he and his team want to deliver in terms of RSEs, and so we can take as many or as few as you wish, and we can manage all of that and work together so we get a program that works for both New Zealand and Samoa. It shouldn't be about New Zealand taking lots of great Samoans out of Samoa to go work in an RSE scheme. That's not right, and so we've been very much, that's been my view since being Prime Minister, and we reaffirmed that today. So the Prime Minister and his team will think through what they want from us, and I've said to him I'll deliver for him what he needs. The second piece is really around the agreements that we signed with respect to the challenge that we're all seeing at the moment across the Pacific, whether it's in Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, Australia. We are now a superhighway for drugs, particularly out of South America, and we've seen, as you know, submarines and all sorts of things happening with drugs coming into this part of the world. And we need to, that those criminal gangs will not give up. They are very innovative. They keep pushing their product onto our people, and we don't like it. And so the Prime Minister and I, again, even our teams in the last 6 months have been working really closely together. The MOUs we signed was to enable much more information sharing between our police departments, but also between our customs agencies as well. Because really we've got to do four things. We've got to make sure we cut down the drugs out on the sea. We've got to make sure that the borders are strong, because actually the border around the Pacific is the border for all of us. We've got to make sure that we disrupt it in country. And then importantly, we also need to make sure we work with good organisations like Salvation Army and others to deal with the social harm that is happening inside our own communities as well. So, you know, what you're seeing is not just words. You're seeing us now start to put in place, having worked together on a number of joint activities. We just want to do more and more of it. It's working very well, and there's lots for us to learn from each other, and there's lots of support that we can give each other as well.
Our final question from Sam.
Kia ora and talofa lava. My question is to the Samoan Prime Minister, and it's about the response to the sinking of the Manawa Nui. Obviously, the New Zealand government made a payment of 10 million tala to the last Samoan government. I know you've made some changes in how that money is to be used, but we've seen some criticism or concern from villagers who have been affected about whether that is enough compensation given the ongoing environmental concerns. I wanted to ask you how you feel about what New Zealand has done to, you know, make reparations, including that financial payment, and what else you would like to see New Zealand do in future around this. And while I have the microphone, I wonder if you wanted to say anything yourself about this miscommunication around the Matai title. Thank you.
Well, we are in the middle of finalizing the first portion of payment, and consultation is still on with the government and also the community people that affected the most. So we appreciate New Zealand's decision to have the first portion of compensation coming along, and we are in the middle of discussions with the people in the village area, Safata and Siumu at this stage. The continuation of the negotiation is still on, and we need to have better time with New Zealand to consider what is good for us here and protective and also preserve of what's going to be affected in the future. That's where the discussion should be. Be fair to New Zealand and also be fair to us in the long run. But when we came into government, we decided that the first portion should go direct to the people involved. Because when we came in, 10 million, only 2 million for the district, and 8 million to the government. We completely changed that. The money, 10 million, supposed to go direct to the people involved, the people that affects, and that's the direction which we're doing now. Other benefits, we are still discussions in how we're going to move forward in preserving and also protection at the same time. But yes, we are in the middle of discussions, and whatever is best for New Zealand, best for Samoa.
Thank you, everyone. Prime Ministers, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Also, thank you very much for members of the media from Samoa.